It's now time for the #1 podcast at iHeartRadio. It's Your House is Key, the podcast that opens the door to your dream home. Hosted by the remarkable Dannel Shepard, he's your trusted guide in the world of real estate. Whether you're buying your first home, selling your current one, or simply curious about the market, this podcast is your one-stop shop for all things real estate. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host and my good friend, Dannel Shepard.
That's right. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. It's the Your House is Key podcast with your favorite realtor, Dannel Shepard. But before I talk about the guests, I got a question. You ever heard that commercial where it's like, no money down, instant approval, free money. We got this. We'll give you this grant. We'll give you almost like a car loan. Well, guess what? I got one of the top tier lenders here that I know sitting in the studio today. I got Mr. Justin Phillips. And before we get too deep, tell us a little bit about yourself and exactly who you are and what you do.
Well, like you said, my name is Justin Phillips. I'm a loan officer with Rapid Mortgage. Been doing this around 17 years. Strictly, probably 95% of my business is purchase.
Okay.
We'll do refinances for past clients, but our biggest niche is just the purchase-driven business that basically we're working with realtors like yourself.
Right. So you basically, you got the packages. You got what they need, whether it's this package, whether I'm a doctor, whether I'm the school teacher, whether I'm a first-time home buyer, whatever it is, this is the guy you want to talk to. This is who helps get it done. And I mean, listen, pay attention to this podcast, especially if you plan on buying in the next 6 months, because I'm going to hit him with some questions I hope he prepared for. We're going to get you some knowledge. Let's hope so. All right. So now I got a question for you. And before we get to everybody else, this is like the chicken or the egg, right? Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? So people always talk about, well, what's the first step when buying a house? Do I get pre-approved first or do I find a lender first? What do you say? Which one comes first?
Yeah. That's probably a mixed bag question because I work with realtors all the time and referral base, realtors tend to know who the best lenders are.
Right.
So you could say, hey, you need to find yourself a really good realtor because they're going to have resources that are probably better than the ones that you're going to find.
Right. Okay.
But I also have referrals from past clients who may say, hey, you need to call, Justin because we had a really good experience.
Okay.
And I've also had it where they come to me already pre-approved from a different lender and the realtor's like, okay, hey, wait a second.
Right.
Call my guy. So, I think it's a great idea to get pre-approved as soon as you possibly can.
Okay.
Because when you're looking online, especially a lot of clients I talk to, they'll be looking at a $350,000 house and have no idea what the payment is. So they're looking in their eyes thinking they know what the payment is. But in the grand scheme of things, they don't really know.
So you mean like when I'm searching online and the sites, you see the house and they say, well, your mortgage is going to be this and this. So that's not really accurate is what you're saying.
Not most of the time, because a lot of times what you see online is, it's advertisements and you'll see 20% down, but they put that at the bottom. So you don't really see that. So you're seeing the principal and interest. So maybe you are putting 20% down, right? But what you're not seeing are, what are the property taxes? What is my homeowner's insurance? That's going to be added into that payment. So also they could have the wrong rate. Maybe you're on the lower end of credit score and they're just advertising the best possible rate that you could get. You might not qualify. So I always say that, yes, the online sites and the technology are great to a certain extent, but you really need to talk to a loan officer so you can pinpoint exactly what these payments are going to look like.
So just as a quick recap, most of the stuff you see is based off of, and I kind of you did this because this was I wasn't even thinking of going this route, but I'm glad you did. So it's based off of, hey, you got to put 20% down and you need a great credit score, right?
Yeah, right.
And that's how they give you, hey, you're this $300,000 house, your monthly payment is going to be $1,900 or something outrageous like that. And now everybody feel like they can afford that house.
Yeah, that's usually what I see. That's not saying that there's some other calculator online that shows it with 3% or 5%. But typically when there's a discrepancy, when a client says, well, I thought that payment would be this.
Right.
I have them send me the advertisement. In most cases, it's 20% down, 750 score. The best of the best, because they're trying to get clicks. They want people to call, right?
Right.
So they're going to advertise the most advantageous payment they can. So you'll call about that house.
Okay.
So,
All right. So now I got some questions from the people.
Sure.
You ready for this?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. Let's see if we can stump them, guys. I don't really know. All right. So just like when I'm on the news, everybody want to talk this. I'm trying to decide if I really, you know what? We're going to wait later for that question. So this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
What are what are the type of loans that you deal with? So there's more than one type of loan, right? There's a conventional, and what else? I'll let you explain. So what do you normally deal with?
So the four main ones that I talk about, and there could be some portfolio loans out there that I don't deal with as much.
Okay.
But the four main ones we're going to talk about are conventional loans,
Okay.
which you just mentioned, which is those are insured by Fannie and Freddie.
Oh,
so
okay.
Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they're insured. Those are conventional. You're going to have, that's typically your higher credit, your bigger down payments.
Okay.
But there is, room if you have lower down payments and lower scores to be able to still get those. But the other three are FHA, VA, and USDA.
All right. All the A's.
Yeah. So those are more driven toward, obviously VA. We all know that's for veterans.
Right.
They deal with lower scores. Obviously 100% financing and
For veterans only.
for veterans only.
Not the spouse.
No.
But the actual person who served.
Correct. Yeah.
Or whatever government
you're-
entity.
Correct.
Okay.
You're using their benefits. The spouse can be on as a co-borrower.
Okay.
So you can use their income, but you need the veteran on there to be able to qualify. So then you have FHA, which is more, to me, I think it's more driven toward first-time home buyers.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's been out for years, obviously, for a long, long time, but it's more of a lower score, less down payment. You can go higher on debt ratio. So it's, hey, I'm not the most perfect borrower. I'm not the 750 score, 20% down, or even 5% down on conventional, but
Right.
I've got a down payment, a small down payment. I have a middle of the road credit score, and I have good income, right? Or a solid income.
Okay.
They have an opportunity to still, buy a home.
To take a step into the market.
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
So
I got a question. So with that too, though, right? I used to hear when I came in the industry, FHA was for low, moderate income, but they've taken, and I know you don't have control of this, but it's like you get FHA on a $600,000 house now, right? Like
on the higher loan amounts.
Oh, the higher loan amounts, which the budget, and this probably was obviously before COVID, so they did stretch the guidelines, and I guess, can you explain what low, and you did, so if you repeat, if you're gonna say repeating yourself, but low moderate income, is that like, what are the guidelines basically?
So it's not necessarily the income, it's just more of your debt ratio can be higher.
Okay.
So
and we'll get to exactly what that is.
yeah, we'll get with the debt to income ratio, which just the quick math is what your gross income is monthly divided by your monthly bills and the new mortgage payment.
DTI, debt to income ratio. That's what
Correct.
they're looking at.
Yeah.
So people, when you talk to a lender and they start talking about DTI, or you see the stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and you want to know what some of these acronyms mean. So you're not just regurgitating something that somebody else and you have no idea.
Right.
So, all right, low moderate income. So also just on the real estate side, FHA as well is, right, there's no chipping paint. Is the water, the faucets running? Is there a whole, in other words, you can't go buy an investment property and a flipper with an FHA loan,
No,
right?
you can't. You have to be it's going to be your primary residence.
Okay.
First of all, so investment gets thrown out.
Oh man.
Yeah. And you mentioned the peeling paint. So just for the audience, what Dannel's talking about is the property condition. There's a few things that FHA still requires to be taken care of if it comes back on the appraisal. So if there's peeling paint, if there's ungrounded plugs, maybe you're missing a hand railing, that's a safety concern. So they might have to have you put one on.
As a realtor, I had to go put some on. I think everybody's put a handrail on.
Let's tell the audience the worst: when a shed has peeling paint.
Yeah, it has
That's the
nothing
worst.
to do with the house.
Correct. That's
Now you got to repaint the shit. You got to scrape it and then repaint it.
Right.
But what's worse than that is when they got to come back out.
yes, and check it.
I think we were on a deal together that dealt
Yeah,
with
we probably did well. But I think most realtors out there have dealt with a peeling paint shed.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think everybody's just like, oh gosh, we just got to fix the shed and be done with it. But
I think that's like the first question when you're going, hey.
Yeah.
Do your property, I got a first time home buyer. You think it'd pass FHA? I don't see anything wrong with it. There's no chipping paint. So
right. Yeah.
And is it safe to say nowadays, chipping paint, and I know you're not an inspector, but just it's not always lead based. Now, I'm not. This is not my license,
Right.
Or it's sometimes it's weather. It's just aging that you didn't take care of it.
It is aged, so we've tried to get around that a few times where we're like, yeah, but the house wasn't built after this certain year when there's not
2015.
Correct. But if the appraiser puts it on there, 99% of the time you're going to have to fix it. I will say I feel like agents are very out in front of that in most cases when they see a big amount of it hitting the face.
Yep.
But we still get some small little spots here and there. Not to discourage, any buyers from it, because to us, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Unless the seller's just saying it's as is.
Correct.
Buying an as is property and they've already made it adamant they're not fixing anything, then yes, maybe we need to be worried about it. But
correct.
It hasn't stopped transactions from getting closed over in my, the last few years of doing this. So that's the good news. So
since we in this different type of loan arena, I want to kind of stay in there. So, and is one more stringent or tighter on rules than the other? So I know you can't do a flip with FHA. Can you buy an investment with VA? Who has, or is there really? Is that a myth that one has tighter rules and regulations over the other? Like, how do you see that play out between conventional FHA or VA?
We just touched on some of the, property specific differences with FHA conventional. But as far as guidelines go, FHA is going to be a lot more lenient compared to conventional. And to me, conventional and FHA are the two main ones, right?
Correct.
Because VA is specialized. We know that with veterans. USDA, which we haven't touched on yet, that's more rural properties and they have to be in a general area.
Okay.
And you have to meet a certain household income cap. So yes, we do those. Those are going to be on the rural areas.
Okay.
But the two main ones are conventional and FHA. So FHA's guidelines are a lot looser when it comes to how you get approved from your income, your credit score. They're going to be a lot more. You can have more late payments on FHA.
Wow.
More if you have more collections, and there's different guidelines.
We're not telling you to not pay stuff. We're just saying.
Yeah.
So if you happen to be in that situation.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. I had a guy the other day. He had no idea his student loan was in that he went late 90 days on a student loan because it was supposed to be in deferment, right?
Right.
So it hit him a couple times and lowered his score, which now conventionally it was going to be very difficult to get him approved, but because of FHA, we're able to do a letter of explanation and still close that loan.
Okay.
Now he was a little irritated because, it was a student loan place that he thought was in deferment, but at least he was able to still get a loan and get pre-approved to go buy a house.
Okay.
With his lease about to be up. So
boom.
That's the big thing is FHA is designed, in my opinion, they're trying to give everybody an opportunity.
The American dream, as they say. Correct.
So that's really, to me, what FHA is. It's hey, we don't just have conventional. Otherwise, now your pool of people that can buy is going to be less. So it just opens it up to give more people opportunity.
Okay. All right. Now, so when people hear them, like I was saying earlier, the ads about payment assistance or, grants this or, what questions when they meet you, or are there any specific questions they should ask so that they're not surprised? Because I want to stay here first, and it's going to be a part 2 to that question. So are there any specific questions
that they should be asking
about when they hear like, hey, I hear that they're, this grant or this is,
a lot of clients they ask, especially if they're first time home buyers, because I feel like with social media, with technology, with cell phones, everybody has like some knowledge of, hey, there's programs that can help me because everybody's talking about it.
Right.
I don't want to say there's necessary general questions. I think it's good that they bring up like, hey, is there first time home buyer programs? That's the question I get the most.
Okay.
Because a lot of times they'll say, well, I'm a first time home buyer. Well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is there's some other loans, down payment assistance that if you are a first time home buyer, gives you access to. Right?
Okay. Right.
But what I will say is that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best program for you.
Ooh,
So
I'm
that's
glad
where-
you
that's
did
where-
that.
yeah, correct.
Because my next one you wrote me the no money down or now we made best program for you. So those are grants, right? First, what is it? Welcome home grants,
Correct.
or doctor grants.
Correct. Yeah.
And again, just because it gets me, or is it safe to say, should I go with the one with the lowest rate? Or do I need to go, how do I go about what's best for me?
Right. So a lot of people don't know this, but 9 times out of 10, if you're pre-approved for a down payment assistance or a grant of some sort,
Okay.
it's not free money. I try to tell people
My next,
it's
free money, not
there's going to be some stipulations to that.
yeah, so that's 7,000 they were going to give me.
Correct.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's a great program. Let's not talk about the negatives. There's pros and cons to it, right?
Right.
So basically with one of the main down payment assistance programs we deal with, that money basically is tied into a lien. It's a forgivable lien with no payment. Right?
Okay.
So if you go to sell that house or try to refi in the next 5 to 7 years, you probably will have to pay that back.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's one thing. The other thing is your rates typically are higher on those programs. What I say for down payment assistance, and I tell clients this all the time, if the down payment is the biggest hurdle, right, and you're a first-time home buyer, right?
Yep.
Don't let that deter you from just trying to at least explore the down payment assistance program, because I'm going to be honest, I have a lot of clients that would be still renting. And I would say the trade-off of the con, maybe of, that's a lien or the rate slightly higher, right?
Right.
Outweighs I'm paying somebody else's mortgage and I'm gaining no equity.
No equity.
You know what I mean?
No reports to anyone. No show of ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've had the same conversation with people too. Like, hey, just because, again, free money's not free. If you truly have it, see what other programs,
Right.
You know, they could be, because there could be, I guess, an assistant program that will give you a lower credit, or not lower credit, a lower interest rate.
Correct.
But don't give you any money. So there's ways you can move things around, right?
I'll give you an example. Today, I had a client that was just asking about down payment assistance. And a lot of times when they do that, you think, oh, they probably don't have any down payment. The last several years, that's not always the case. This lady has this client has plenty of money to put down a small down payment, maybe 5%, and credit scores were good. So she could go conventional on a 5% down conventional loan.
Right.
And have a better payment. But I want her to make sure she understands the differences, you know, because she may have, you may have took her to a house, right? And she needs that money to fix that house up.
Yep.
So that might be a case of, hey, I'm going to stay here for 5 to 7 years, right?
So take the money.
So I need to do the down payment assistance. Yeah, maybe my payment is slightly higher, $50-$60 maybe, right?
Ooh.
But now I have this $10,000 over here to fix the things, put new carpet in it, you know, paint it, do minor things that makes the house what I want, right? So I just think that how I approach it is I want to give them both those options if that's an option. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just you can only do down payment assistance. You know what I mean?
Right. So I got trying to figure. So if I say, hey, client is looking at this house, run it at 250.
Right.
And we don't get it, right?
Okay.
How much does the month, just say you say, okay, I'm just, guys, don't hold me to them when I ran the numbers. So the payment on the 250 was, let's just say with today's rate, interest rate, I don't know what it is. What is today's interest rate?
So let's just do the average. I'm going to make, this is round numbers. You can get under 7, but I'm doing it just because it's round. Because people don't understand a quarter rate really doesn't change it a whole lot.
You beat me to my questions.
I know. But let's talk about, I think you were talking about something that's
pricey versus 250 versus 260.
Right. So let's do that first.
Yeah.
So I did this earlier. So my general rule of thumb, and it's going to be a little different depending on 20%, 10%, but let's do $7 for every 1,000. So if I
was going to say it was 10.
Yeah. So $7, easy round number, right? Sometimes it's $6.67. You know what I mean? But 7's just easier to do math on, right? So if I've ran a payment for you or one of your clients and I said, hey, the payment at $250 with taxes and insurance and everything is $2,000, round numbers, right?
Yep.
Not saying that's it, but just 2,000. And you're saying, and you come back and say, hey, we need to go in at 260 now instead of 250. That's $10,000. A lot of clients immediately say, man, that's going to be like $200 more on their payment. $70. So when you tell them that, now I'm not saying that 70 could be,
it could be breaking, but it's also lightning, right?
Correct.
You don't like, man, $70 because
of getting the house or not getting the house.
Correct.
Right. So that comes up all the time.
Because if we go have lunch right now, I guarantee our bill, even at Chick-fil-A or we're about $20.
Oh yeah, easily.
And if we actually sit down somewhere, what's 70? Again, this is not taking away from anybody that struggle, but what's $70 at that point? And again, making a dream come true. So 70. So man, that's
maybe you're at top of your budget. That 70 is a bigger deal. Totally understandable, right?
Correct.
But I will tell you, probably 90% of the people, when you do that and you tell them that after I've run them a payment, they're like, that's it. I'm like, yeah, I already have the taxes. The taxes aren't going to change.
Correct.
Yes, your insurance can vary a little bit, but we do a pretty good job of getting it close. And then we have partners in case we can't get it close. We have some insurance people we can refer if need be. So if I give you that baseline payment, now when you're with your agent, you can just say, all right, if we go up 5, that's $35. If we go up 5K, that's $35. So that way, or then, sometimes you have a client that goes, I'm not going over 225, right? And then you're saying, well, you realize that going to 230 is only $35. They're like, oh,
right.
And maybe not. Maybe that's
perspective.
Correct. But maybe some people, the purchase price might be just where they feel they want to buy the house, not necessarily payment.
Right.
But most of the time, what they want to pay for the house is going to be payment driven more than anything.
All right. So we talked the payment side of it now and going up in price, but how much of a payment does 1% on an interest rate change? Does it change that? Now let's talk on the other side. How much does that cost?
So I mean, if you're able to get 1% less, I would say most people aren't going to vary in that.
Okay.
Like I say, okay, I'm comparing this lender and they're going to give me a quarter better on the rate, right? Or whatever that may be, or maybe their credit was lower than they thought, and I'm like, man, I really wish I could have got 675 or 6.5 instead of 675, right?
Right.
Well, that's a lot of cases on average is only going to be $25 to $35 on average. Now it could be higher than that.
Correct.
If your loan amounts are higher, but the average size here in Cincinnati of what we do, that's what you're seeing. So I try to talk to the clients, because a lot of times when maybe something's not what they thought it was going to be, when you give them that knowledge and information, they're like, oh, that's it. It's not detrimental to them buying a house, right? It's not going to stop them from doing it. Over $30 most of the time, or $35.
So now you got that, and I like how you just spin also. Question about you: how do you work? Are you being a lender that you are? Been, you said 19 years, right? 17. I threw some age on it. That's that knowledge, though.
I always look at it in sports seasons. I guess maybe that's me, but I'm in my 18th summer. Basically,
there we go.
So this is working. I've completed 17. I'm working through this year. So
I like that. So are you? Never leave home without it. The phone's already on you night and day. Do you work the same?
Yeah.
Do you work when your clients are working?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Well, that was.
And I would say, over the years, and I think maybe it's just the generational thing, I think most clients are very conscious of, I get a lot more, hey, sorry for calling you at 9, right?
Right.
At 9 p.m.
Yeah, I know what you did.
To me, I don't even think that's that late, right? So, but
trust me, I know.
Right? Yeah.
Got some late ones.
Don't know. When I first started, I was on the phone late too. It was 11 o'clock. But I think with technology, in the pre-approval process that I do now, they don't need me as much while they're looking for houses with you,
right?
Unless they're putting that offer in right there. But I try to educate them on payments, because that's what they really need to know.
Right.
They kind of know the cash to close, because we've already kind of went over that. It can differ, but I'm working when you're working, and I'm working when the client needs us, right?
I like that.
So,
yep. That's
I tell, and people sometimes think I'm joking, and there's plenty of loan officers that do that, but there's also plenty that don't. So,
I feel like if I'm working every day, all day, I got to be able to pick up the phone or at least shoot a text. Because there's been plenty of times where it's like, hey, Dannel, I'm at the soccer game. Hey, I get it. I'm at the baseball. I get it. It's just whenever you're available, let me know.
Yeah.
And it also shows the clients too, like, man, my realtor's answering. and the lender's answering,
Yep.
I got a solid team.
Correct.
Because that's the relationship that makes them feel comfortable.
And I feel like, and maybe this is just background of serving, being a server at a restaurant, and just maybe sports, because I know you played sports too.
Yes, sir.
Just being coached, like, to me, building the trust and building the rapport with the client is you have to show them.
Yep.
Because when you're on the phone, like the first conversation is big for sure, that you're ready to go to help them and you're prompt, right? But you show them over the process of that first phone call. I tell clients, that's not going to be the only phone call.
Nope.
You're going to go out with Dannel. You're going to go see 2 or 3 houses, and now you're going to come back and maybe have other questions, right?
Yep.
If they can't get a hold of me easily to get those questions answered, I just feel like that's doing them a disservice. So I just try to make myself as available as possible. And that's just how I've always done it. That's Saturdays, that's Sundays. You know, to also help them secure that house, because this is it's the biggest asset you're going to buy in your life is the house, true, right? So I want to make sure I'm available to help them in any way I can.
How important does your credit score actually matter? Like, I know you talked about guidelines and lower credit score, but like, how important is it when buying a house? And then, I'll let you start there. Then
how important is it? I mean, it's important because you got to have a good enough score to, at least meet guidelines of whatever program that we're able to get you approved for, right?
Yeah.
So there is going to be a state where you look at a credit report, and unfortunately there's times where it's like, hey, just where you're at right now, we're going to need to try to help you get to where this level of credit score to be able to get approved. So I would say, credit is important to a certain degree.
Okay.
I think the biggest, maybe it's not the biggest, but a lot of clients have this false sense over the years of talking to, but my score is only a 650. And I'm like, it's totally fine.
That's golden.
No, it's totally fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Maybe I can't get you approved conventional. Maybe FHA is better, right?
But you're in this.
But we're going to look at both.
Yep.
And we're going to see. Because if you're 650, but you're putting 25% down.
Boom.
You know what I mean? There's different caveats to that.
Correct. But also, I look at it, okay, 620, 650. There's programs.
Yeah.
My next question is, or next statement is, I just don't want you house poor.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what's important to me. Is there programs, and I know I'm gonna say 580s and some we take 550. Yeah, but can you enjoy life?
Right.
Can you still go out to eat? Can you still do these things? So then I feel bad because I'm like, hey, Justin, I got somebody, but so with that being said, when you get people who have lower credit scores, do you put them on a plan and say, if you do, like, how do you address that, who want to be in a better position, because credit is important to them?
So how I look at it is if you send me somebody,
right,
I want to do everything I can to find a way to give them an opportunity to be pre-approved, right?
Right.
There's so many instances though where it's just not feasible, right? It's just,
right.
And we have a big net. We can do as low as FHA lets us,
right,
to be able to fit you in this box, right? Of what is allowed in the lending world, right? But there is a lot of people where it may be a debt ratio issue where, in this day and age, inflation, everything's high, right?
Everything, yeah.
I might have a buyer where it's just, man, they make a pretty good income, but they're the only borrower on this loan, right? Or that could be a plan where I know there's some people that get discouraged. I'll be like, well, you kind of need a non-occupying co-borrower, like a co-signer.
Right, okay.
Or you need another borrower. I'm not telling them to go get married or go find a significant other, but
right.
I'll have those same people call me back in 2 years because I told them, hey, if you get a raise, or hey, maybe something changes and now you and your girlfriend or fiance want to buy a house together. Now we have 2 incomes, right?
Yep.
Or back to the credit piece you're talking about. Maybe their credit is a lower end score and they've got things they need to work on. We try to do our best to give them a plan. We're not credit repair people, right?
In fact,
But because I've looked at credit so much, I do have software I can run for basic things like paying things down, getting an idea of, hey, if you do this, it'll give you some point improvement. And it's not a perfect science. Let's talk to the audience. It's not a perfect science, but I want to at least give them some things to work on. I don't like turning people down. I don't ever, and I think that's a lot of society. That's their biggest fear, right?
It's being turned down.
Yeah, because I get it. It's rejection, right? I don't really turn people down. I'm just like, hey, we can't do it right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you do some of these
Yes.
things and check on them, we can come in 3 months, call me in 6. And
right. And maybe that person doesn't have the means to do it right now. Right. But I want to give them my knowledge of, hey, if you're able to do these things in the next 12 months to a year, you're going to be in better position so we can try to help you moving forward. Right. So, and I have clients that come back to me that did it and they were able to, and I have others that don't, but I feel good hanging up the phone knowing, hey, I gave them at least my knowledge of the industry to at least get them some ideas to fix credit.
I like that. So, man, definitely. So we're going to do a part 2 of this.
Okay.
Because there's so many more questions I want to ask and just now that we got some of the surface level, and we'll probably still have some more surface level questions, but I want to start getting in the weeds. I want to start covering things that I know there's some entrepreneurs out there. I know that there, people that are moving different cities and want to know. There's so many other variables that we could start throwing in and really give people a taste and a vibe of what's going on. But again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come out, man. It's a pleasure.
Man.
Listen, you sharing your knowledge. I know what you can do. That's why, again, I ask, come share it if you don't mind.
I'd have no problem doing it.
Again, tell the people who you are.
Like I said, I'm Justin Phillips with Rapid Mortgage. We're over on the east side of town, but been basically helping clients and agent partners for 17 years. And just, this is what I love to do.
And he does.
It's a good feeling to help people, find a way to get financing,
Right.
Yes, it's great when you help the 20% down person. I love helping them too, because we can move those super fast.
Right.
But I just think that we take Rapid, and myself included, my owner of Rapid, we just take a pride in making this process as easy as possible for you guys and educate you, because there is a lot of misinformation out there. So that's my main goal, is always just to try to help educate, but also help make the process smooth.
Awesome. You heard it from himself. That's my guy, Justin Phillips. He answers when I need him and any other time, just to say what's up, to check in. As always, I'm your favorite realtor, Dannel Shepard, with the Your House is Key podcast. And always remember, with me, your house is key. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Your House is Key with Dannel Shepard. Each week, Dannel dives into essential tips, insider secrets, and expert advice to help you navigate the exciting journey of home ownership and home selling. From understanding market trends and finding the perfect neighborhood, to even securing financing, staging your home, and closing the deal, there's only one guy that gets it done. Dannel Shepard, right here at yourhouseskey.com.